Of course, there's so many reasons why people get into divorce. Infidelity, lack of commitment, extramarital affairs. We are looking at conflict, unresolved conflict, arguing, and whatnot. You name them. So many reasons that can lead to divorce. Man of God, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
Why should a religious leader, and you will also give in on the other side, the opposite angle of it. Why should a religious leader tell somebody to stick to a marriage when they are uncomfortable being there? At what point do you draw the line and say that to this extent you are not fully committed, but to this extent you are committed, but you need to leave? Why should religious leaders advocate for something that is killing women and men out here, if it works?
No, I will say this. Lack of knowledge can be one of the reasons why somebody will say stick. Because even the word of God in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 says very well that two people who are in total disagreement can actually separate. They can actually live a separate life. But that is not divorce. You live separately for the sake of the security. Assuming the foundations...
Define separately. You stay in different houses?
Stay in different houses.
Yet you're married.
Even you are still together, looking for a solution, because the challenge would be if somebody comes to me and tells me this guy is beating the hell out of me.
That's what the challenge can be.
Now, immediately as a pastor, I will advocate that you guys need to separate. Because if you continue living together, I'm not saying that you separate and divorce. Separate and live apart. 1 Corinthians says that. Separate. And while you're in that state of separation,
Bible says you should separate with your wife.
With your wife.
And live apart.
Live apart for the sake of the security. Because why should somebody be in the same house and later, maybe after 1 or 2 weeks, they kill each other? For example, I'll give you a very, like what he said, not mentioning names. But a couple comes for counseling, they are fighting over property, and it is messy. So the advice we said, from what we are seeing, you guys need to be apart. Now, the most amazing thing that happened after they separated, the woman went on to plan a murder for this gentleman. Only that the people she paid happened to be police officers who were undercover, so the guy was not killed. But you see, when we said you guys need to separate, they were like, I think we need to stay together. So the word of God allows for a couple to separate, live apart, as they look for help. It is like...
For this case, the couples were not willing to live apart.
They were not willing to live apart.
But
only
the
now
church,
when
the church was advocating for them to stay apart.
Advocate now, move. What we advocate for is, number one, as there is this separation, then look for solutions. Number one, find out what is the problem that has led you to this place. Probably there is infidelity. If there is infidelity, there is no need of forcing something to come together, yet the Bible well allows that let this person, if there is infidelity and you can prove it, then divorce can be allowed. The second condition where the church or the Bible allows for divorce is when, for example, you are married to somebody who is not of the same faith, and that person decides to go. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 says, if that unbelieving person departs, let him depart. Hakuna shida. So, on such conditions, there are moments where you can allow people to separate. So I would say it is a lack of wisdom to see two people who are actually a threat to each other and you tell them to continue living together.